what a night. Kyrie Irving and LeBron James both putting 41 on the board, and now we've got a Game 6 in the NBA Finals. Joining us once again from the worldwide leader in sports is Brian Windhorst. You making your way back to Cleveland now, Brian?
Yes, I'm at the airport, and another long day of travel ahead.
There you go. Yeah, is there an Oakland to Cleveland direct, Brian, or San Francisco to Cleveland direct? Is that what we've got for you at least?
I know you haven't been to Cleveland in a while, Rich, because of the Browns situation being so dire. But the Cleveland airport is essentially closed. You can barely get anywhere from Cleveland. So no direct.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well then let me be the wind beneath your wings for at least the next 8 to 10 minutes, Brian. So do we draw a line between those two performances and Draymond Green not being out? Can you draw a direct line? You can.
Absolutely. Yes. And also Andrew Bogut, who suffered what looked like a pretty significant injury. Certainly an injury that I expect him to keep him out the rest of the series at the least.
Wow.
Those are their two best basket defenders. And when you don't have them there, you let the guys get close to the basket. It was an extraordinarily outlier game. I mean, an amazing game from Kyrie and LeBron. But typically when the Cavs play very well offensively, it's when they hit a lot of three-pointers. They only made 10 threes. I know in 2009 that would have been a huge number, but in 2016, 10 threes is around average for the Cavs. They only had 15 assists. So 112 points on 15 assists, I mean, that's crazy. It was basically LeBron and Kyrie playing power basketball, and they were able to do that because Golden, in a way, I mean, they played great. They may have still had great games, but because Golden State's best defender and then their best defender and second best basket defender were out for the majority of the game.
So if you believe Bogut's out for the series, at least Draymond Green is done. We assume watching Oakland A's games while NBA final contests are going on and Game 6 comes up now. What do the Cavs need to do except get 72% of all their scoring from James and Kyrie, Brian?
Well, they were pretty pleased with two things last night. One is they were able to withstand the Warriors' run. I can't undersell that, I'm screwing that word up, but I can't accentuate that enough. One of the things that the Warriors do to you is they hit you with these 12, 14-0 runs or 18-2, and you just can't recover from it. And so the Cavs were able to withstand all those Klay Thompson and Steph Curry three-pointers in the first half. I mean, 61 points in the first half, that's a death blow for a lot of teams, especially on the road. The Cavs were able to hang in there. So they're growing confidence to deal with the Warriors, number one. And then number two, in the second half, they played much better defense. Held the Warriors under 40% shooting, under 40 points in the second half. Now, I agree the Warriors missed a lot of open shots, but they also made a lot of tough shots on them in the first half. And so while you can't expect to get that kind of action from Kyrie and LeBron again, I do think they feel like handling the stress of playing the Warriors and also playing a little bit of defense can something they could carry over to Game 6.
Brian Windhorst of ESPN making his way from San Francisco to Cleveland because we have a Game 6 now Thursday night on ABC. I'll ask you the poll question quite simply at richeisenshow.com. Brockman, hit him with it. Hit him with it. Go for it.
Is Draymond Green a dirty player, Brian?
Brian?
I don't know. I mean, I think that's a black and white question to something that's a gray area. I definitely think he will do anything to win. Anything. And I'm not guessing he has said as much. I will do anything to win. And I think he definitely has issued cheap shots before. I don't know how you guys felt about it. There's a misconception, and certainly, going over the technicalities got you nowhere with the Golden State Warriors fans. He did not get suspended for the hit on LeBron James. He got suspended for a culmination of hits over the course of the playoffs. Steve Kerr complained about it and said, you shouldn't be judged in the finals for something that you did in the first round 7 weeks ago. And my retort to that would be, tell your man to stop hitting people below the belt. By the letter of the law, the penalty that Draymond got for kicking Steven Adams was more severe than the penalty that he got for hitting LeBron James. Nobody's going to see it that way, but honestly, that's the way it was. He got a flagrant 2 for the Steven Adams hit and a flagrant 1 for the hit on LeBron. When you look at the penalties that were given out, the NBA said, LeBron, you made a menacing act. You stepped over him. It was a taunt. You are penalized a technical foul, which if it was called in the game would be 1 free throw and the ball. Draymond made contact with LeBron, and not only made contact with him in a derogatory and dangerous way below the belt. He was given 2 shots and the ball. The difference between the 2 penalties, 2 shots in the ball, 1 shot in the ball. There's really not that much of a difference. One guy made contact, the other guy did not. But because of all the acts in the past, Draymond was suspended. And that's not what the Warriors wanted to talk about. They wanted to say, well, he got suspended for a love tap. That's not what he got suspended for. He got suspended for his behavior over the last 2 months. And I think it's a deal that the Warriors will have to take because everything that Draymond does and the way he's able to impact games and the relentlessness of which he plays, it has a side effect. And the side effect is he pushes the envelope like this, and sometimes you got to pay up, and that's what happened.
Well, in terms of the side effect as well, for him, Brian, he's still a young player, right? He's on his first year of a monster deal for him. There is still a large part of the United States and the basketball viewing world that's still getting to know him because he's been on such a large stage now for 2 consecutive basketball seasons, and he's going to get a reputation, whether it disturbs him or not. He does strike me as somebody who's a conscientious individual, even though sometimes he doesn't play that way on the floor. And now, in Game 6, what's to prevent somebody from stepping over him again? And that'd be a great way for him to be watching another Oakland A's game, I guess, on Father's Day night, Brian, right?
It's absolutely part of the Cavs' game plan to bait him. It's not number 1 or number 2. There's a lot of stuff on the game plan that they got to deal with to figure out. But everybody knew that Draymond was at the line, and you know what? He didn't care. He was at the line in the last series and was still flailing his legs around and tripping players and stuff like that. He doesn't seem to care. He's going to do whatever it takes. And you know, when you push the envelope, you're often rewarded, and sometimes you're penalized. And I think on balance, the Warriors it's been a great deal for the Warriors. But the concept that he has been wronged at the highest levels is just not accurate. I know that sales pitch goes 0 with the Warriors. I know that people across this country were furious about him getting suspended. Frankly, he benefited because the league was so tentative to not want to suspend him that he felt like he could push it all the way to the edge because he obviously would play with no fear. So I think in a way he benefited from being on the cusp of this suspension for so long.
And now comes Game 6, where I guess he's going to play the role of LeBron, where every Cavs fan boos every time he touches the ball. Question is does he have a game similar to one that LeBron did, which means putting his team in a way on his back and showing the way? Kyrie, obviously, as we know, had a big part of it. Do you see the airport that you're in right now again, Brian, on Friday? Yes or no?
Well, Rich, I'm not in the prediction business because I've been around long enough to know that I don't know.
I love that.
I don't care who you are. You could not have predicted that for the first time in NBA history, 2 teammates would have scored 40-plus points in a closeout game on the road at Golden State, one of the hardest places to play in history. I could not have foreseen that. I definitely don't necessarily believe the Cavs have traction because I don't think what they did is repeatable. So I'm not going to sit here and say, well, the series has flopped and the Cavs have it now. But I also know that the Cavs team is very talented, and they are like 9-1 at home in the postseason. They've already lost one to the Warriors. So my guess is they will have an advantage. I think in the early lines they were favored. So it doesn't surprise me. But the Warriors have not lost 3 games in a row since November of 2013. So seeing that, you would figure they would figure out a way to get one here, whether it comes on Thursday or Sunday. But, there's too much uncertainty with what can happen in the NBA. We're waiting on MRIs. We're waiting on suspension rulings between games. It's craziness.
Brian, thanks for the time. I appreciate you calling in as you're making your way across the country. We'll chat again soon, I hope.
Thanks, Rich.
You bet. That's Brian Windhorst.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.